What a great move, man.
Good evening, everyone. We're back for our second race weekend of season 7 for Tier 2. We're going to China. It's an interesting track, and it has a lot of, yes, it's not known for having a lot of overtaking situations because of the nature of the track, but that long straight might prove different with the amount of DRS power we have in this game. Let's quickly go on to the track video and have a look at the Hotlap as well.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tier 2 IRC China. So, onto the track. It's a very technical track, China. It has a total of 16 corners and two compounded by two very long straights. It's a very highly technical circuit with a mix of cambered corners and flat straights. Moving on to the past clips of previous seasons, we see Avi defending from Death Hunter, and Death Hunter sending it down the inside of turn 1, which is an extremely probable overtaking zone because it uses a lot of mechanical grip as opposed to aerodynamical grip, so you're not affected by the dirty grip. And here we see Cryptid and RB Ferrello having a nice little battle into the hairpin of at the end of Sector 1 as RB Ferrello swipes it around the outside of Cryptid. Then we see Faizan in his racing point diving it down the inside of the hairpin, another probable overtaking spot in the circuit.
Shanghai International Circuit coming up to turn 1, a difficult corner to get right, decreasing radius, long right-hander, utilize engine braking more than the brakes to slow down the car through turn 2, second gear through turn 3, but important to short shift for turn 4 to avoid losing traction. Slight kink at turn 5 before slowing the car down for 6th. Down to first gear for extra rotation, but then quickly up through the gearbox as the track opens up for the high-speed run through turns 7 and 8, staying as far left as possible for turn 7, opening up turn 8, little dab on the brakes, and use the engine braking as we head down to the double left of 9 and 10. Important to stay within track limits as we power towards the heavy braking zone of turn 11, a potential overtaking opportunity, but also maybe wise to hold off as we near the back straight. Important to get a good exit out of 12 and 13 to shoot you down the massive back straight. DRS open, cars can catch up in the tow from quite far back. This is the main overtaking opportunity, one of the longest straights in F1. Important to retain your ERS for this back straight here. Coming down into turn 14, tight hairpin down to first gear, short shift up through the gearbox to avoid losing the rear as you have one corner left at turn 16. Crucial to carry as much speed as possible without invalidating a lap, and that is a lap of the Shanghai International Circuit.
Well, that looked like a decently fast lap from Oxygen, who is our Tier 1 driver. And we have Tier 2 today. So with me, who in the comm box, we have Moto, who's my fellow commentator for today. Hi, Moto.
Hello, Harry.
Hi. And we also have Deepak Raj, who will be streaming for us. Hi, Deepak.
Yeah, hello Harry, hello Moto. Hope you guys are doing good.
Yep, all cool. It's going to be exciting, I'm sure, because the previous race in Monza, it was one of our closest ever grids. Tier 2 is always turning out to be an amazing grid for us since the past couple of seasons. So it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to go here. Any thoughts you guys have about this?
I mean, this is a very technical circuit, so tire wear is going to play a big factor on this. So we might see a few drivers who have excelled in tire wear before, in preserving the tires before, doing a bit better than they normally would do. So
Well, absolutely. And I guess one unfortunate thing we saw last race was worthy to mention is Violent Gandhi, who was leading the race really good and doing really well. Unfortunately, he ended up just before the finish line. So I guess this time he'll not celebrate too early if he is finishing on the podium or in first place again.
yes, absolutely. I heard that was mad unfortunate where his game, I think, just glitched out and he hit the wall on the outside.
Well, absolutely. And nonetheless, let's hope that the game does not throw its tantrums like last time and we do not have to restart multiple times because that would spoil the racing spirit, obviously, and people might get a little, the spirits might go down, the morale might go down. But yes,
Absolutely.
it's going to be a very hot session of qualifying. We'll see if they're again within a second. The whole grid was almost within a second last time around. Let's see
Yes,
how it
coming
is.
back to that. So, what are your predictions, Harry, for this one? Because last time it was one of the closest grids we've ever seen in qualifying in IRC. So, who do you think is going to get pole position today?
Well, if last time was anything to go by, then I guess Violent Gandhi should be able to get into the top 3 easily, if not for the pole position, in my opinion. And we gotta give some credit to Shivam as well. He was able to fight out and get a P3 last time. So that'll also be interesting to see where he's gonna put his Ferrari at. Warhammer did not show his best face yet, in my opinion, because last time I raced with him wheel to wheel, he had some really good pace. He was able to put in some amazing laps, and his tire conservation seemed to be decently good also when I raced him in Barcelona last season. So he seemed to be really good, and I think he still has some potential to show us where he can put his car at.
Absolutely. I've raced with him before as well. He is a rapid driver. But also, let's to remind you, last qualifying session was wet. So we could see a change in the pecking order, today.
Was it wet last time?
Yes, Monza qualifying was wet. Was it?
Okay, Deepak, can you confirm
No,
that?
no, no. I don't think Tier 2 had a dry. I don't think Tier 2 had a wet quali session. It was
Oh,
Tier
sorry,
1.
my bad. That was the tier 1
Yes.
qualifying. Apologies.
Okay, so SC. So today we will not be having the safety car as last time because of how badly it was glitching out in some of our test races and preseason social races. So that will be an issue, and I guess. I mean, it is not an issue for racing because then you do not get easy or lucky with a safety car or a
Harry,
safety
actually,
car
I
restart.
think the coordinators have decided to enable safety car this weekend.
Um, well,
Can I check
I
with the
think I
coordinators
just got
once? I
the-
think I got a word that they were enabled. Just check with the coordinators once.
Yeah, I
think,
have.
Safety car is on for this race, I think.
Okay, I don't think so because SD has our admin, one of our admins has mentioned it in chat, in our team chat that he will not. There will be no safety car today, unfortunately, because of some issues. So
That's good.
moving on. That was unfortunate, of course, but moving on.
So as we go on board, Ripe here, setting the first few laps of qualifying. He's done a fastest first and second sector, being the first car out there. And a 133.4. Is that a good benchmark, Harry, for qualifying?
Well,
Session?
well, in the 33s, I do not think so because Ripe himself was able to set 31s in time trial, from what I heard before during this week. So someone spun around. That's Warhammer. Okay, he seems to be laying down the rubber in his own style.
That last corner has been a hotspot for a lot of incidents, even in real life, hasn't it?
Yeah, actually, in fact, you can maximize the track over there. Basically, cut across the sausage curve on the inside, which might unsettle your car but gain you a lot of time. So
Yes, it's very hard to properly take that corner without. It's more of a risk versus reward situation.
absolutely, surprisingly, if you can, on the 1 second, Deepak, can you just show us the tire used by these drivers
Yes.
and turn off the lap times in game as well? Yep. Well, that's surprising. Looking at this, I really want to talk about the strategy that could be used today. And I only see 3 drivers who are out on mediums or have set lap times on mediums, and definitely that's not their fastest laps. Freeman and Paras are about 2 seconds, 2.2 seconds off pace from Electrip, who right now has P1 with a 132.5. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, the mediums being a more durable tire, I mean, it's recommended that you do more than one run on it to, first of all, rubber in the tire, and second, to get a good feel of the tire as well, because you're used to doing the qualifying and on time trials in the soft compound. So it's all, alien data for them. They're trying to get together the data they need to absolutely send it on the tires.
Absolutely. So I guess these many drivers, I mean, almost what is the number? 15 drivers going on the softs and setting some decent timed laps. Looks a little of a shocker in my opinion, because I did not expect people going on a soft hard, considering the softs can't last more than 4 laps. I guess 4 laps on the max, or 7
Yes,
laps.
I believe it's around 4 to 7 laps.
well, that is down to how the driver drives, like, absolutely. And well, Monk seems to be sending it on that double left. He's 2 corners away from that long straight, back straight. Important to get your traction perfect over here because that maximizes your speed down the straight. Can lose a lot of time if you have a slight moment like losing your rear or probably a snap oversteer.
Absolutely, and as he makes his way onto the final corner, a bit conservative there, but better to be safe than sorry. And he makes his way across the line. It's a 32 point. Not sure what the exact time is, but
I guess 32.8.
There was some interesting moment at the pit exit there. I think there was a Mercedes that lost its wings. Yep.
and is it
Oh.
Warhammer again?
Yes,
being
it
the
is
center of-
Warhammer. This is gonna be a very painful one lap for him.
He's
Well-
already had 2 incidents in this qualifying session. Not how he would want it to start.
I think what has happened is there was a Williams ahead of the Merc. The Williams decided to slow down to let Monk pass, I guess, because he was coming out of the pits. And yes, that sudden braking must have caused Warhammer to go straight into his back. The stewards will definitely have a look into this. It's going to be interesting to see what the POVs of the two drivers in that incident were. But yeah, that's a story for later, I guess.
Absolutely. And I think we have one of the new boys in Tier 2 in Paris today, driving as a reserve in the Haas. So he's already out in the mediums. He knows what the optimal strategy is. What are your expectations then?
Well, interestingly, like I said before, there are only 4. Okay, now it's updated. 4 drivers who opted for the mediums, and only 2 of them have set laps. And it's going to be important to see how these guys qualify against the other soft runners, because that will define how good their strategy will be. If they're in the top 10, they have to stick to the medium hard, obviously. But if they are anywhere below the top 10, they can go for the alternate strategy, that is the hard medium, and that is supposed to be the fastest strategy around, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, the hard medium is one of the. It's really close to the medium hards. It's a bit faster in my opinion, I'd say, because you're low on fuel at the end, so you can push way harder on the mediums as you would on the hards. So it's not all that faster, but it's the preferred strategy.
Well, that's true. That makes a lot of sense. I'm actually waiting for Warhammer to get in a proper lap. I'm so bummed for him because he's had a couple of spins and a wing getting. Ooh.
As
That was a
is
very
an
creative
Africa
line from Lalls. I don't know what was going on.
Well, Lalls went
he
straight
was
off.
a bit too late on the brakes there.
Thank goodness he did not take out Aaron, because they were going in. He was going straight across that hairpin at the end of the straight to escape Aaron, I guess. But Aaron must have just started his lap now, so hopefully he didn't get any kind of impeding in that out lap. Shouldn't have actually gotten an impede. because it
Could
was
we
an
go
out
on
lap.
board Rokker? I think he's out in the mediums and he's setting a time.
He's on his outlap.
He's on his outlet. Okay.
Alright, so the tire compounds being shown are the tires they are on at the moment, right?
It's the fastest
Yes,
lap that they've
yes.
set on. If not, it's the current.
No.
car.
For Rokker, it's fastest lap to set in the softs, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
he's gone on
Yeah,
to-
you're right.
Yep. So I guess then we'll have to wait and see. If you don't mind,
Alphabot rounds the
sorry,
final
go
corner.
goes across the line.
It's a 32.7.
Yep, that's a good lap. I think there's a little more pace. Am I not wrong? Because what was the pace around in time trials, Moto?
I think time trials in T2 was around a mid to high 31. But as we know in this game, it's incredibly difficult to match your time trial time
Yeah,
because
makes
of
sense.
tire pressures and so many other external factors on it.
Absolutely, makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense
As
now.
we
Now-
move on to Rokker on his onboard lap on the mediums into turn 3, I believe. Extremely sharp. You want to maximize the traction out of it to get the best run onto the second sector and start. which is a hairpin. Brake at the 50 or the 100-meter board as he enters the very fast left-hander. So Sector 2 is a complete contrast to the track to Sector 1 and 2, which is entirely mechanical in effect. Entering the third sector split, which is another really sharp corner, compounded by an off-cambered right-hander, which is extremely hard to get right because your rear end gets extremely light, so you have to be extremely careful on this throttle.
Sorry for that.
Heading on to the back straight, he is slower compared to his last lap, but that is understandable because it was on the soft tire, which is a way faster compound. Heading into the hairpin, braking at the 100-meter board.
He looks to have abandoned
Using
his
all
lap. Or has he?
I think he's still pushing.
Yeah, he is pushing. Oh no.
No,
he
I
That
think he
definitely
had
wasn't a
that.
push lap.
Wow.
Absolutely. So he's already put in one lap on those mediums, and I guess that will give him just another one to use those set of tires. And still, Banat. Oh, wait a second. Banat has just gone to fastest. He's gotten provisional pole at the moment. He's on P1 with a 132.4. That's about 2 tenths faster. Deepak, if you can switch off the telemetry in the game, the one which shows the gearing and the RPM. Thank you. Well, we're on board Electrip, who seems to be on a hot lap as well. Not a brilliant sector one, but he's not very far off. He's about 200ths off his Banat's time, so, or his own time. Sorry, I think that's in comparison to his own time. He seems to be doing well with this turn, getting in early. Misses the apex a bit slightly. I think he'll be a little compromised. Takes a little bit too much curve. You see that steering input. He did get the car unstable. He had to stabilize it a bit. Probably lose a little speed. But he's done a personal best in Sector 2, nonetheless, and getting all the power down. Going on to the start finish. The back straight. The long straight. You can think about a lot of things on this straight. Takes quite some time to go past it, even with these fast cars. Braking at about 100 or between 150. Well, that was. Oh, Warhammer has gone P1. Excellent. And just as Electrip goes around the final corner, let's see where that puts him. Puts him P3. Wow, they've all.
And again, as last time, it's extremely close at the top.
Absolutely, that's what I was going to talk about too, because the top three are within 700ths of each other.
Yeah, within 700 of each other.
To be precise, because now a
Which
10th
is,
is
on a track like China, is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the race pace will be for these guys, because if they're going to be within that kind of timing, they're going to be throughout the race in a DRS train, if I'm not wrong.
Surprisingly, Rokker on the mediums, I'm not sure if that time is on the softs or is it on his mediums. If it's on his mediums, he's done pretty well to only be 6 tenths away from the top runners who are on the softs.
Absolutely. Deepak, if you can check if we are showing the fastest lap tires or the current tires.
I think it is the current tires, I guess.
Best, yeah.
Yes,
Now we are
best
on the current.
now, yes.
This is what I wanted. Excellent.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
as you can see, it's on his soft tire.
Yeah, so I guess there are only 3 drivers right now who've done their laps on mediums, and all 3 of them are in 14th, 15th, and 16th respectively. So that is
the delta between the softs and the mediums is extremely large over here, because you need all the mechanical grip you can get, as Alphabot has done a purple sector too.
Well, that he did show a lot of promise pre-season. He seemed to be one of the fastest drivers in the tier, and he's getting an excellent slipstream as well.
He'll be loving that, won't he?
Absolutely.
But he probably
that's
wanted
gonna
to get out of the way at the hairpin.
Well, let's just pray.
It's his own teammate. Have they planned that?
Well,
That
if
seems
they
to
had
be the
planned it,
case.
then I would say they had executed this to perfection.
Absolutely, because it's not too far that you don't get a toe, and it's not too close where you're affected by the dirty air. And that
Wow.
got him pole position
By
by
2/10.
2/10.
Oh, that must have been an excellent. I think that's just gonna show us how
As he
much.
stops on track, I think even he's in disbelief how well that went. As he
and
just retires from the session. Is
Okay.
that Sebastian Vettel-esque in Singapore, what was it, 2012? Where he just did one lap and he was waiting in the garage and he got pole.
Okay, that has been caught on stream. He's retired on track as well. That's gonna be a little bit of a scare if I'm not. Okay, thank God his car is out of the way. Sometimes the
No, I
AI.
think he was off track when he retired, so I think it should be fine.
Anyway, moving on. That was okay. As I was saying before, that is a testimony to how much that slipstream can help down the straight. It's given him easily a tenth and a half at least down that straight, and that
Absolutely.
probably got hurt a bit with downforce and grip into the final corner. But again, he got the slipstream again towards the
I don't
start
think
finish
he's going to
straight.
be too bothered about that. He got the
Yeah.
toe, and as I think Freeman has exceeded track limits, or has he not?
Well, his lap
He
is
did.
surprisingly still valid.
I
Yeah,
think he
it
was
will
a bit
be valid.
wide into that corner. I think he's abandoned this lap.
Has he abandoned the lap?
As WTF Chicken sets a purple sector.
Ignore the name, it's Banat.
Chicken.
Sorry, man.
It's Banat. Yeah.
Apologies, that's Banat who set a purple sector. So could he overthrow Alphabot for P1?
He should be getting a slipstream. Oh no, Freeman's just
No.
too far ahead from him. He's already taken the hairpin.
At the 100-meter, want to get that rotation into this corner. Extremely hard to do so at that low of a speed. Into the final corner, as Harry mentioned, not to be too greedy into the inside curve, and he completely avoids it. And it's P2 by less than a tenth.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I mean,
So could that tenth have been? Could the slipstream have made the difference there for Alphabot?
probably looks like it. That slipstream definitely gave him a lot of cushion, a lot of buffer time in terms of lap time, and I guess that's helped him keep pole. And I do not see anyone else beating it. Is Aaron on a hot lap?
Yes, he
I
is on
think
a
he
spot
is,
lap.
but he hasn't improved
Yes.
over the two sectors. So.
Yeah, I guess there is no one else that's gonna beat Alphabot, and he has
And his
gotten
ERS
pole.
is flashing, so he's out of ERS as well. So.
Yeah, looks like it. I guess he's not doing a lap as well. He must be on an in lap probably.
And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is our qualifying grid for the session.
Well, can you believe it? Alphabot's gotten P1 by an amazing attempt with the slipstream from the Williams boys, and Ripe, kudos to Ripe for that. He's done an excellent job to give that slipstream as well. Banat, very close without a slipstream, just within a tenth. That's basically 800ths away from pole. So he's in P2. So that's the front row lockout for you guys. Sorry, front row lineup for you guys. Not a lockout because you're not on the same team. Interesting.
Absolutely. As we wait for the screen for the final grid.
If I'm not wrong, Warhammer came P3. Silently, the man did end up putting in one clean lap, and that has helped him come into P3.
Even after all the adversities he'd faced throughout the entirety of qualifying.
Absolutely, and I think that will be, yeah, he did come P3. And
Oop, okay.
he just moved us.
I guess the counter timer just went past us, but yep, let's have a look at the order.
Well, it is what it is.
So
what
me
lap
try
do you
to-
think Alphabot is going to pit at? Because
That
he
is
doesn't
what I
want
was-
those tires. He doesn't want to be on those tires for too long.
Absolutely, I was actually gonna ask that very question because that's gonna be a very tough call to make. Considering it can only last, and it's at its best performance window only for the first 4 laps, and plus he's done a lap in quali as well. And I don't know to what extent that will affect his tire life in the race. But yeah, I do not see that tire going to lap 7 at all, because he'll be getting pushed by Banat if not attacked, or he might have to even attack Banat if Banat gets a good start off the line. So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's gonna be quite
As you
interesting to
wait for
see.
the drivers, Deepak, could you bring up the race director so we can see the full grid? So, any notable mentions over here? I think Rokker, who tried to set a lap on the mediums, could not, and he's got P11 even after
Wow,
his soft lap. So that's the perfect position, and he has opted for the hard tire. In fact,
excellent. And that
everyone out of the top 10 has opted for the hard tire. So
they
they
know.
do know this. The hard medium is the better strat.
What I'm waiting for now is the names I'm seeing down there: Rocker, Monk, Paras, Abhi, Rai, Brambo, Abhi 20, and if I'm not wrong,
Lalls.
Lalls.
Yes.
Yeah, these are all. They're not very much off the pace. One driver has seemed to have gone for the mediums. That's Paras. Will be interesting to see how he does. But all of these guys on the alternate strategy are definitely on the faster strategy than the soft hards, and it'll be interesting to see how these guys do now, because if they end up beating the guys ahead of them and getting a lot of places in terms of pit stops, or doing the alternate strategy, that's going to be a big bummer for the top 10 guys who've done it on the softs.
Absolutely. And the people who starting out of the top 10, I mean, I'm not pointing any names here, but like they are not as quick as the people ahead of them, but they're going to have the tire life advantage. So that's going to play a big factor as well.
Absolutely, it'll, if not give them an opportunity to make some moves, it'll give them the chance to fight for those places. And we are having our lights coming on. We have 5 lights on, and off they go, but we have a slight pause.
As I think they are refusing to go, and it's lights out and away we go.
It was a perfect getaway for Alphabot. Warhammer has jumped into P2, goes around the outside, overtakes Banat. Banat probably going to lose P3 as well with Electrip. He's fighting wheel to wheel with Electrip. Oh, a Ferrari comes off track over there. That's an interesting start for Banat. Banat seems to have lost 3 positions over there, and he spun out as well, if I'm not wrong.
I
He's
think
gone
that
to the gravel.
I think the Freeman who's the worst of the Alpes.
Ooh, a huge weave or swarm of oversteer. I do not know what happened, but there was a car that went swerved straight into, if I'm not wrong, a Haas. Well, that was Banat. I have to confirm it to you because he's down in P11 now, Moto. So
Oh, the apologies. And that is Banat, who has suffered pretty bad, horrendous first lap. And
absolutely.
it's the dream start for Alphabot, isn't it? He's already 5.5 bit tenths ahead of Warhammer, who is closing in. But yeah, it's what he wanted. A clean getaway and come out and stay in P1 after
And
the
Banat
first
has
one.
fallen down the grid, absolute to plumb last. Can we go on board Banat for a second to see what's happening with him? He's spun around. He's kept his wing intact. That is a bummer.
I think his tires are crying for colder temperatures right now because by the looks of it, he has spun at least twice in the opening lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go quickly on board BK19 and Aaron, because they seem to be fighting. Aaron has lost 2 positions right now. He lost. Oh, and Freeman seems to be challenging for P7
As he
as
sets it
well.
on the inside, and that was an overly ambitious move. And he
Well,
has come out the worst of the 2 cars there.
absolutely. BK managed to keep it on track, I guess, and he is not lost too much ground. He's lost a couple of places. But yeah, Freeman has lost it and gone to P13. Now he's about a second, more than a second now behind Lalls and out of the point with the softs as well. Can you quickly get the tire being used by the drivers right now? Because the hard runners should be going. Oh, there you go. Ripe and Roker, who started in 11th and 12th, if I'm not wrong, have gone up to P9 and 10. Just place or two.
A perfect position for Rokker there.
Absolutely, and he is not out of DRS as well. If he can stay in the DRS zone, that is gonna pay him dividends in terms of lap times and keeping the pace up with the guys ahead.
I would like to point out that Banat's race is not over because the safety car is on for this one, so he still has that extra lifeline. waiting for him. As we see Lalls going around the outside of that corner. That's an incredible move on Abhi.
That was an amazing move, but we just I think on the corner of Lal's POV, we saw a spun BK19 as well. Oh, that's a dive by Lal's on one of the. Oh, it was on Abhi. Yeah, Red Bull. Yeah.
Or one of the
Lalls
Abis, you could
and
say.
they both pull into the pits.
Oh,
As
okay.
Abhi is retired from the session.
I think he's hit the pitfall.
Has he
Oh,
done
wow.
Lewis Hamilton?
I think he did. I think he braked too late over there and he went straight into the pit wall.
The pit entry is extremely hard to get right on this track as well. It's a really sharp left-hander which you gotta get your braking right for.
Oh my god, that's gonna be a bummer. I feel for RB20 right now. Last race he had an issue with the race start on the final restart of the lobby, and he was on P1. He was on pole and he couldn't get away clean, and I guess that costed him. I'm not sure if that was the case, but yeah, he did have a bad weekend. I remember. Well, he'll come back stronger for sure because he has some good pace to show us. In the
As we
meantime,
go on board, last race winner, Van Gandhi, was extremely close to Shivam here.
almost race winner because he lost it just before it started.
But his car did cross the line at last, right? So he did win.
So the rule to finish the race is you need to have a not damaged car. Now that is something that even I am not 100% sure about, but you can miss a front wing, you can have some damage on the car, but it should be able to move on its own power, under its own power. So he had lost a couple of wheels and had been declared DNF by the game, which means when he crossed the finish line with just 3 wheels, he was a DNF car and doesn't get classified anymore, and hence he did not get a position at all, leading almost the whole race.
As we see Electrip and Aaron Gavin tussling it out for position. As Aaron Gavin is on the inside for the upcoming hairpin, will he do the squeeze? As he brakes a bit late, will Electrip try to switch back? He does not. Interesting.
Electrip tried to go wide and try to get a switch back, and he tried to go on the throttle early as well. We saw that squirm of oversteer also, his rear stepping out slightly for a second.
The softs have started to, well, I wouldn't say die, but they have started to show their age now. So we could see some rear ends stepping out here.
And not to forget, Alphabot has pulled out a 1.6 second, 1.7 second lead on Warhammer, and well, that is interesting to see because fight for P2 is between 3 cars who are not very far off each other. They are still in a DRS train of their own. P5, that's Aaron Gavin, is 1.4 seconds away from this pack, and he might be able to catch on them because he's gained a couple of tenths already. Electrip and Soulo, the 2 Mclarens today, are in a DRS train with Aaron Gavin getting pulled along. Electrip seems to have so he's gone into the pits. Electrip trying to pull.
Oh, as Banat got a bit loose there. I think his car is decent. I'm not posting some cars right now.
Well, he lost another 3 positions there in what I saw.
And he's on 3-lap old softs as well. He's made a pit stop with fresh softs. That is an odd strategy choice. I think he might have.
Well, we're not sure to be honest, but again, like I was telling, Electrip did pull the undercut trigger. He's gone first into the pits. He's now in P11. He's 15 seconds behind Monk, who's in P10, and he's on fresh hards. And I guess now it's a race to the end for him to take care of those tires and probably put in some consistent lap times. A lot of people going wide.
NASCAR lines through that section.
Ferraris were taking big freedoms with their track limits.
Using all of the track and more.
Absolutely. Ripe and Rokker seem to have swapped positions sometime in the race, and they are in P7 and 8 right now. They have a lot of time to go to the end and get some fresh mediums later on, or if they are adventurous, they can go for the fresh softs by pushing these hards to the very limit.
Absolutely. There's a sort of a DRS train being formed here between the likes of Warhammer, Shivam, Gandhi, and Gandhi. Interesting.
Well, just as I mentioned before, Violent Gandhi has made. Oh, Shivam has gone into the pits. Interesting to see that there's a lot of drivers who are pushing the softs even more than 4 laps.
Absolutely, as we have a yellow flag in Sector 1, and it's Warhammer who's suffered from an incident. He was found out on the left side of the track.
And that's a bummer. Ripe in the meantime has caught up to
As
him.
he
And
gets a bit loose in the rear end there and gets onto the grass and loses yet another position to Ripe, who's in P5 on fresh cards.
absolutely, and I think Warhammer is gonna get a little bit of bad exits because of hot tires and tires that are softs that are almost 6 laps old now.
I
It's
think a
gonna
Williams
be-
1-2 is on the cards here. Because
Absolutely.
Alphabot has shown so far supreme pace to pull away. And Ripe is in literally the perfect position right now.
Absolutely, and maybe Ripe might not have the pace, but he definitely can put in some good laps and probably just stay out there, use those hards till he can, and he's on a keyboard not to forget. So that's a commendable effort from him to get so many positions in the first 6 laps of the race itself. He's gone 10 positions up from where he started, and
Soulo has tried to go around the outside. Will he get the switch back? I think he does. A better exit compared to Aaron Gavin, but Aaron Gavin I think is doing an ERS dump, and Soulo pulls into the pits anyways.
well, even Alphabot, Violent Gandhi have also pit from where they were P1, P2 if I'm not wrong, and they have gone into the pits for a fresh set of hards. Aaron Gavin is still out.
His tires will be screaming for help right now.
Absolutely. He's probably trying to do what you had mentioned about going. BK
Onto
19
lap
is
7.
retired.
As we have a yellow flag in sector 3, I think one of the cars, I think BK has retired.
Let's go on to Lalls for a second if we can catch BK.
That's a very odd place to retire.
Yes, his car is just stranded on the straight there.
That's odd. Did it miss a wheel?
I think it was.
There was some debris
yeah.
strewn around. The car was right in the middle, and that's a very weird place.
Then I
Interesting
guess.
to note here, Electrip, who tried to pull the undercut, I think he was behind Shivam before the undercut as well, and he's still behind Shivam after the pit stop.
In fact, he's actually lost a few positions as well. He was up in the.
Who has to take curb there, which is an absolute no-no. That curb will send you spinning into Narnia.
Absolutely. Well, the race seems to be interesting till now. Violent Gandhi is getting close to Shivam at the moment, and they both are on. Shivam has gone onto a fresh set of medium. Oh my god.
That's another thing to note, and that's probably what the undercut did work. Electrip's still getting temperature into his tires. Shivam has already got that temperature. As Violent Gandhi has the pace advantage, is trying to remove a bit of weaving going on there.
Absolutely. Probably a couple
Around
of.
the outside, is he going to try for the switchback?
Well, Soulo is also gaining on them with all of this fighting, and he's losing. He's losing pace to Alphabot as well in front. Aaron Gavin has finally pit. Let's just see where he comes out compared to these guys. He's gonna lose a lot of positions, I think. And Shivam almost lost his car. Yes, I think he did. Maybe not.
As I think Violent Gandhi gets the move done into turn 1 there. Switchback.
Well, to take a little bit of a time. Look, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, because this team is a little glitch. Not glitch, sorry, frozen.
Okay.
And we are back. Sorry for that. Apologies for that small interruption there. There's some issues with the stream. And as we're on board with Shivam Shardan, I think Varun Gandhi got the move done into turn 1 there with a good switchback into the corkscrew corner.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, that was a brilliant move actually. Shivam and Violent Gandhi seem to have some argy-bargy action over there. Ooh. And Shivam is taking some aggressive lines, trying to catch up. And not to forget, Ripe is in the lead of the race right now. He's 2.5 seconds away in front from Rokker. And Rokker seems to also be on the... Yes, he's also on the hards. Monk is also... No, he's on a medium set. He started on the mediums. So he's trying the second, if not equally paced strategy, and he's in P3. These guys are all well placed to make a lot of moves up from where they actually started.
Absolutely, the hard medium strategy coming into clutch here.
Absolutely, and well, till now in the race we've had 2 retirements. One was of BK19, which we still need to understand how he retired on the back straight, and Abhi 20, who had a moment, a Hamiltonish moment going into the pits and I guess straight into the wall. We'll have to see if we can get all of those, get some views from them as well later on. In the meantime, Violent Gandhi and Shivam always gonna be battling now because it seems to be like a DRS train.
As Varun Gandhi's already closed up to Alphabot here. That's interesting.
Well, I don't know if he is closed up. He's not got
And
a
Aaron has
DRS.
lost it. Aaron has lost it on the exit of that corner. It's unfortunate.
One of the first victims to that corner. An incredibly hard traction zone, honestly. That corner is really hard to do on old worn tires as well. And fresh tires also, it's going to be a challenge. Aaron Gavin out. And we have Freeman and Warhammer battling away to glory here.
Steven has made his move stick. And it's all about pulling a gap out now.
Absolutely. I think Warhammer is still in the process of getting some heat into those tires, whereas Freeman is a lap more.
Oh, he spins again. This race is not going to his
inside
script.
curb. And yeah, the inside curbs in this track are something you would rather want to stay away from, as we've seen on 2 occasions now.
Absolutely, I think it was him and Electrip did get lucky, right? Taking the inside curve. Wow, these guys seem to have a lot of
be taking the inside curve.
Yeah, that's good.
Varun Gandhi is making really great inroads on Alphabot here, and he could be shaping up for moves down the back straight.
Absolutely. Let's see how Violent Gandhi is able to make this stick, because he definitely is in a position to do that. He seems to be having the ERS for it as well.
And now he's going to suffer the dirty air wash, which you can see visually how much Alphabot is pulled away there.
Alphabot seems to be good on ERS. He's having almost half the battery, but Violent Gandhi is running on fumes right now. His battery is almost dead.
That could explain how he's caught up to him so rapidly there.
And a slight lockup as well from Violent Gandhi.
Interesting, Alphabot is playing the long game. That's a very composed way of thinking from the young man.
And again, important to note, Ripe has pulled out another 2.5 seconds and now has a 5-second lead on Rokker. This is excellent pace from Ripe, actually. Not gonna lie, this
Williams'
is...
boys are looking rapid, absolutely rapid today.
Yeah, and as even if Alphabot's under pressure from Violent Gandhi, he's still catching up to Monk ahead.
And he has all the ERS in the world to defend from. And Violent Gandhi doesn't have that much in the tank left.
Well, I guess that explains how it's gonna be from now on, because even if there's a battle, there's gonna be a lot of defense from Alphabot because of the amount of ERS he's saved up to this. Very mature driving till now from Alphabot. We'll have to wait and see how it pans out, considering that the top 3 right now still have to pit and they are on the alternate strategy.
Absolutely.
Well, everyone else seemed to be quite spaced out on track except for these 3. That's Alphabot, Violent Gandhi and Shivam. They are close to each other. Shivam, important to note, Shivam is on a set of mediums, and I think Alphabot had a slight moment.
Yeah, he had a
Yes.
slight, his rear end got a bit loose there. And that could give Violent Gandhi the opportunity to dive it down the inside. If he's close enough, proceeds to stay back for now.
Well, again, even if he has the pace, I think he knows the ERS situation and he's trying to just get some ERS, get some battery harvesting power down the straight at the braking zone. In the slipstream, he can keep up and get the DRS as well to help him. So,
Something
yeah.
we've always talked about is the mental game which goes on into these on-track battles. You know, it's sometimes better to just linger behind your opponent, try to get in his head, get in his mirrors as well.
Yeah, well,
Forcing
that
him into
actually
mistakes.
worked. I mean, Alphabot was making some mistakes and it actually worked, but
Could Violent Gandhi also be playing some 4D underwater chess here?
but
Good-
actually, I
good
think the window
analysis.
is kind of closing because Alphabot is within DRS range of Monk right now, and this can get a bit prolonged right now until Monk quits.
Actually, well, important to know, thanks for that, Deepak, because all the way from P2 to P6, they seem to be in a DRS train now because they are within a second of each other and they all have DRS obviously, and it's going to be a DRS train now. But this is helping Rife because he's pulled out another 3 seconds lead on Rokker. Man, this man is on
Absolutely
fire.
gunning it.
Actually, Rokker seemed to have had an issue. His car was an AI for some time. I think that explains why
Does he
he
have
lost
the
it.
quick overlay on for his car? He might have suffered some wind damage.
I don't know. Okay, Monk is making the move on Rokker.
Well, that's
Will Alphabot also do it? Nope, he stays back.
So he chooses to
Oh, but
stay
that was very
back,
close
and-
from Violent Gandhi.
And that's a bit too close for comfort there for Violent Gandhi.
There was some touching definitely because Violent Gandhi did nudge Alphabot left rear and Alphabot's gone wide. He's gotten shaken now. He needs to get himself back because he's going to be under attack from Violent Gandhi. Violent Gandhi going around the outside on turn 1. Oh,
And a bit of
Alphabot
contact
taking
and
it back.
Alphabot goes around.
That was absolutely
Was
sad
there
for him.
enough room there? I don't think there was enough room given for the Williams driver there.
Well, whether he had room or not, he has come out bad from this situation. Definitely, the viewers will be interested in that situation, in that incident into turn 1. It happened on the lap 13. So, well, there's no more pit stop. So I think it's important that he takes care of his tires, doesn't try to, spin around, get some wheel spin in, get himself stabilized, get some consistent lap times in because he's lost a lot of ground to these guys. That could
It's important for him to stay mentally strong and remain focused because if he goes on to push now like a madman, he's going to wear out his tires. So it's important for him to remain calm as if he's already out in front.
Absolutely, all that you said. But Moto, if I'm not wrong, last season 5 China was a really hot battle for you with Mara, and it was an interesting safety car race that had a lot of wheel-to-wheel battles with a lot of drivers around. So you will know a thing or two about tire conservation and keeping the pace up there.
Season 5 is a bit of an odd story. It's not really not much to do about tires. It's more of a safety car incident. But yeah, I mean, even in the last game, tire attempts and your tire wear was absolutely integral in how you would manage in race trim because of how technical the circuit is. It's extremely mechanical grip dependent. So your tires do take a beating here. So you want to take those lines where you're keeping the minimum speed high, but you're not scrubbing off the tires as well. So there are many factors to account for in race trim in the circuit. So it takes a driver to know everything about the car, about the tires, about the track to remain consistent and good. So it's a really test for the drivers.
Well, thanks for that insight. He is a race winner from China, by the way, so he definitely knows a thing or two to get his race sorted in on this track. Ripe, in the meantime, was 8 seconds ahead of Rokker previously, but after the move from Monk on Rokker, who's in P2 now, he's within 6 seconds of Ripe, so he's cutting down slowly on the lead which Ripe has, but it's going to be interesting to see how it goes because Monk is going to get attacked by Rokker down the back straight. He's pulled alongside with that DRS help. He's on the outside. Monk is going to tuck in behind and he has his teammate behind as well. this is gonna get a little bit of messy
And
because
both
he's
the
getting.
Aston Martins are going side by side for momentarily there.
Yeah, I do not know if team orders are in play, and yes, they are in play because Monk. Well, it
Monk
depends.
has dived into the pits. I think he was just out there to give slipstream to the other Aston in
Well,
Gandhi.
I don't know if that helps or not because Monk has had to pit quite early, not very early, but he has another 13 laps to go and he has a set of hards. So after getting it up to
As
10th, I think.
Ripe has lost out on 6 seconds to Rokker.
Something seems to have happened to Ripe.
How happy is
And we
that?
see Rambo has retired. I wonder where that happened.
Okay, Rambo has retired on the straight and his car seems to be moving and
Oh, Banat doesn't seem to
Banat
be having a
seems to
really
have
good
lost.
race.
Yeah, Banat has Rambo on the other side, I guess. So, what he's gonna show us where Rambo is.
Yes,
Yeah,
his
he's on the
car just
left.
vanished.
Well, in the meantime, let's go back straight to P2 because I think Ripe is right now going to be fighting for that P1. He's going to get attacked by Rokker. Not only Rokker, but there is a proper train behind him, and everyone's within within half a second of each other. They will all get DRS, and he is basically leading the pack, cutting through the air for everyone. He should be having a lot of ERS as well, I guess. So let's see how he's able to.
Now this is a
defend.
stretch, but do you think Alphabot has told Ripe to slow down so much where he's starting to impede these drivers so that Alphabot can catch up?
Team
Well,
orders, huh?
that's
That's a bit of a
Okay.
stretch for team orders, isn't it? Like it's like slowing down 6 seconds, you know.
Well, I'm not sure. I think there are only two things that I can think of straight off my mind, and I wouldn't see a racing driver coming down 6 seconds to help his teammate, and he is actually defending quite well, putting the car in the right places, the middle of the track, so that there's not much of place for these guys to make inroads. But yeah, what would have happened is he might have had a spin, or there must have been some kind of a glitch which pushed him straight back, like what you call the desync issues, where the game corrects itself. In the
As he's-
meantime, go on.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go for this because all that defending has pushed Rokker into the hands of Shivam, who's on a set of mediums. Sorry, he's gone wide and Gandhi is gonna think about going down that inside, but think better of it because Shivam was definitely cutting back in trying to defend aggressively. He's again slotting right back into formation. These three guys are going for it. It's helping Ripe all the more because that's given him about a half a second of buffer again, and he's gotten a decent exit out of that that swooping right-hander onto the back straight. He's got a 1.4 second lead out of that exit. That should show you how much of an outwash which Moto was talking about. Moto, go ahead.
Yes, absolutely. Outwash. Like you have these two massive straights on the circuit, and even then it's so hard to overtake because of the nature of the corner. As we see Shivam sending it on Rokker and sending it a bit too aggressively, as Rokker had to take to the off-road there. But will he dive into the pits? Yes, he does. I think he's had enough of staying out for any longer than as Fuel is on notably on 10 lap old hards, which he waits to solve. I think his tires will be frying by the end. What do you think, Harry?
Absolutely, I think he has another 3 or 4 laps left in those tires. I do not see any more coming out of those mediums. But it's important to note that Ripe and Rokker have both pit. Rokker was basically waiting for Ripe to pit, so that must have triggered him to pit. And I think it's a little too early, don't you think, to pit for the mediums at this point? Or am I wrong?
I think the pit window for the hards is around lap 18 to 20. But yeah. If you're doing the hard medium, it's better to pit a bit early so you can get the undercut on. But interestingly enough, I think they both have, all the hard runners have pit, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, all the hard runners have pit, and it's important to note that Ripe has come out in P8, whereas Rokker has come out in P11. I'm not sure if he had a damaged front wing to repair or it was just the timing, the gap. He had quite a gap to Ripe as well.
Also to note, there's been an insanely good battle going on between both the Mclarens and Soulo and Electrip. They have been dusting it out for the past 4 or 5 laps.
Yep, both the McLarens have been running very close to each other, and it's been staying that way. And yes, they are fighting. I don't know, they're fighting. They're throwing each other forward, but yes, they are running very close for quite a long time.
Well, Well, that is going to be interesting to watch. Like you said, I think it's more of a towing across each other, but yeah, Electrip seems to be catching up to him every time. I've been noticing that as well. He's catching up to about 3/10.
As Solo has a moment there that could give Electrip the incentive to go around the outside,
They are
which turns to
fighting at
the
this point.
inside. And I think Solo is out of ERS. His lights were flashing. His rear light was flashing.
Well, Electrip has taken P4 momentarily, but we'll have to see if it stays that way. He has slight amount of wheel spin out of the second turn, going on to this hairpin at the end of sector 1.
And both the
Well,
McLarens
I-
identical with the ARS reserve as well.
Interesting to note here that out of all this, Alphabot has caught up to the top runners. He's almost within DRS, which is absolutely a really remarkable feat from him, to stay composed and just claw the gap back.
Yes, definitely. He
Absolutely.
has clawed his gap back, and definitely Ripe's defending has helped this quite a lot, I would say. Like, good team games there going on. But I mean, I'm not sure if that was a team order or something, but I'm pretty sure it was just some incident from Ripe, but it did play into Alphabot's hands pretty well.
As Gandhi is awfully close to Shivam, and Alphabot has got DRS now, but he was there momentarily, and Gandhi has just swooped around the outside. An easy pass really, unless... Ooh.
Shivam
As
Sharda sticking it in the
Shivam, I think-
brakes.
Yeah, he broke a bit later than Van. He did him out to the outside. That could
Well-
be a bit noteworthy for the stewards there.
Absolutely, but whatever that is, I do not really want to think about it because Alphabot.
Well, certainly Alphabot's not complaining as he's within, forget DRS, he's within the 5/10s.
Wow, this is going to be interesting because Shivam definitely has to make a pit stop. Ripe has put in the fastest lap. Ripe is on a charge today. I want to wait and see where he ends up with that.
These last 9 laps are going to be very interesting for both the Williams drivers actually.
Absolutely, and important to know that Soulo and Electrip are not taking any team orders. They're going to fight it out on track, and Electrip has again been passed by Soulo. Soulo seems to be showing the pace. He has 2 laps younger tires than Electrip. Probably that is slowly coming into play, but I don't think it should because the hards can go the distance, shouldn't it, Bobby?
Yeah, the hards are a really durable tire compound, especially on this track, but it depends on driver style as well and how long they've been on the hards.
Well, that outwash of dirty air doesn't seem to have affected Violent Gandhi much because he
And
stayed.
he is much closer this time compared to the previous time.
And he has a higher ERS reserve as well. I think this might be an easy move done.
Unless Shivam has any more ideas into late braking, as he brakes late again and turns in on the Aston Martin.
I think Violent Gandhi learned his lesson the last time around and switched around the inside this time, and they said, nope, I'm taking this line.
And I think because of that small contact, he's lost momentum and he could be suffering another position loss to Alphabot. Who is weaving away at the wheel. He wants to get past the Ferrari. Plays it safe. Will he go for the switch back into the first corner? You can
Maybe
see
not.
the difference in mechanical grip that he could just carry that momentum to the corner for Alphabot.
Absolutely, this has just helped Violent Gandhi go away from DRS, from Shivam's clutches, and that has also hurt Alphabot because he might be within DRS to Shivam, but he's not really fighting Shivam because Shivam won't have the tires
And,
to enter.
and we all know how bad the outwash is in this sector too, which is it's just horrendous, like I have experienced it. You literally cannot keep up with the car ahead.
Absolutely, and I think that could just be a bummer because Violent Gandhi's pulled away, and Alphabot might have to do a lot of consistent laps after he passes Shivam. In the meantime, the battle for the point scoring position, though Warhammer is also batting for P9, he's within DRS to Monk, and that's about 8/10 difference between Monk and
Oh, I think
Warhammer,
Alphabot
and-
has had an off. Sorry to interrupt, but Alphabot has had an off.
Oh my god, that's unfortunate.
Curtains to the Williams driver. I think it's another the corner before the back straight takes another victim there. I think it was because of the outwash he had a bit of a snap of oversteer on.
Well, unfortunate. I think he is slowly getting under pressure because that would have. Oh, and Shivam has split. Both Solo and Electrip, both of them are in P2 and P3, and we have a yellow flag somewhere. I think it's at the final corner. Not sure who
Has
it was.
Alphabot retired?
I think Alphabot
He
has
was stuck
gone
in the
into
corner for
pits.
quite some time.
I think he outbroke himself into the pit entry there, which is again.
Did
as
he
we
also
see,
did a
it's
Hamilton
very
again?
easy to do. It's a Hamilton, two instances of the Hamilton-esque entry.
This is a huge bummer for Alphabot, who was in contention for the win, if not definitely for the podium, but seems to have had an issue. I'm not sure if it was a contact between him and Shivam or if it was just him
The
spinning out.
outwash.
Yeah, the outwash, absolutely. So yeah, that's put him into the pits. He's gone into a fresh set of softs. I do not know if he'll be able to finish in the point, but he'll definitely be trying for the fastest lap. But important to note, all of this drama, and now we have a new set of podium finishers probably. Violent Gandhi is again in P1. Let's hope he does not celebrate too hard. Solo
As
and
Alphabot
Electrip.
has left the session, I think he has had enough of today.
Well, I do not know if
That's
that is
a
Alphabot
really
or
big
if it's the
bummer.
internet. But yeah, that's gonna be a bummer. But let's just go on board Rokker, who is gonna definitely try to make a move on Warhammer.
Absolutely. He was stuck to the rear diffuser of Warhammer, and he still is. And he goes down the inside as Warhammer puts on the squeeze and breaks a bit later. And that's a good defense by the Monk driver.
Absolutely, and I think that's just about the DRS trade we were talking
13
about.
lap old hearts, nonetheless.
Exactly, with 13 lap old hard, he just had the help of DRS from Monk, and that has helped him just stay in that position. Look at that. There's not much of closing speed as well. There's a very slight difference, and that's only because of the grip difference which they get on the exit of the corners. So it's going to be interesting to see if he uses the grip. And I think he's getting attacked by Shivam as well, who's wheel to wheel with him on the outside at this moment.
Good advantage there. I think he's on the outside. Will he go for the move here? He's already alongside the Haas driver, and he sends it on the Merc as well.
You could see the tire advantage
That's
right there. A
Absolutely.
brand new
Really
soft
overtake by
versus
Shivam.
mediums and hards. He just pushes it too much into the braking zone and gets 2 positions.
Well,
That's
he-
overtake of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Absolutely, that's actually an amazing move. And well, it is a little questionable on exit because he didn't have the turning radius to turn in sharper. He had to push Rokker a little wide, I presume. Or Warhammer, one of them was pushed wide definitely. But I think that is allowed in racing where you're allowed to push your fellow driver wide off track. Solo in the meantime is getting attacked by Electrip, and we saw before they are fighting it out on track. There are no team orders at Mclaren.
Oh,
As-
unfortunate for Electrip.
Wow.
Another event of the commentator's curse.
I was just about to say these guys should not fight each other and trip each other up because Freeman was right there on the clutches waiting to get that P3. But well, this is unfortunate for Electrip.
Absolutely, he will be kicking himself there. As Shivam, who's absolutely flying on the new softs, is setting the benchmark for lap times here. He's just in the fastest lap.
Well, absolutely, and I don't know if he has enough laps. He has 5 laps left. He can catch up to Ripe. Important to note, Ripe is on a fresh set of mediums. He's within DRS of Electrip, who just had a spin, and he's on 17 lap old hards. And Ripe could potentially do well enough to get a P5 maybe because he definitely has the pace. He's catching up to Electrip, and he started P15. That's
But-
a lot of.
Sorry to interrupt you
paces.
there, but Wright has got 6 seconds of penalties, so he's got a lot of ground to cover if he wants to retain that position.
Well, penalties are one thing, but I think he can fight for honor and get himself a track position at least. And well, it will not be given obviously because of the penalties, but let's just hope he does well enough to do that. Again, important to note, Freeman, though he's in P3, is in danger of losing that to Aaron because he has a 3-second penalty as well. So that could mean that Aaron could probably get P3 because he's able to stick it up there, keep it within 3 seconds. So well, that's going to be interesting to see as well.
Meanwhile, what else there is to note is that Soulo has been eking into that gap which Gandhi has pulled away. It's 4.7 now. So again, the last two podium finishers who were closely battled in the race. It's the
Switch.
same pecking order.
Switch right back to Rokker versus Monk. Rokker using the tire advantage to himself. He's giving the space for Monk, going wide over there in turn 1, and Monk sticks it down the inside, but now he has the outside over the other corner. I don't know if he'll be able to stick it around the outside on those hards, which are about, what, they're 8 laps old. So, well, he does have the tire life, but I don't know about the grip level because he definitely will be losing. Yeah, he tried his best through the turn 1, 2, and 3. All through them, he tried to stay in contention for that position of P8, if I'm not wrong. And well, he's lost it for sure now because Rokker has pulled away, but not much. He's still within DRS of Rokker.
Absolutely. What's important to note is that I think by the end of the race, those hards will be fresher than the mediums in terms of pace and performance of them. So we could see a late charge from Monk.
Absolutely. And Electrip has caught up to Ripe, but Ripe has not yet caught up to Aaron. Wow. Did Ripe already get the move done on Electrip? I'm sorry. It's the other way around. Apologies. I think Ripe has gotten the move done on Electrip. He's ahead of Electrip now by just a tenth. And I think there was a dive from Electrip that might have costed a little bit of time for both of them to Shivam, who's on a fresh set of softs. And yes, we just saw that he's showing a lot of space, so that's going to be interesting to see as well if Shivam does a double overtake on both of these guys.
And those softs will be crying by the end of the race. We could see some interesting turnouts here as he gets a bit too close for comfort there to Electrip. Using the grip as Electrip has the drag back.
Not this.
Okay, so did Electrip glitch into him or rubber band into him?
I think you're right, Harry. I think there was a bit of rubber banding going on there.
Well, Shivam has definitely gotten the move over there on Electrip. Let's hope that Electrip does not get rubber banded into him or in front of Shivam again, because that is going to be a bummer. But yes, you saw the grip that he had. He could steer so much more into that corner and get on the throttle much more earlier. Electrip definitely is going to be struggling with dirty air as well as bad tires, because there's a 19 lap old hards.
Absolutely. As Electrip is really close and gets onto the outside curve, which is not what you want to do. You lose a lot of momentum. That curve is extremely serrated, so you'd be best to stick away from it. But he does have DRS in the car ahead, which has helped him get back at last time.
Definitely, as he also was a little bit squirmy. He was having a lot of wheel spin coming out of that corner as well, and I think it's all about keeping it within DRS with Shivam to stay with that position, because
As
Rokker is
Ripe has
coming in
picked
hard.
up another 3 seconds worth of penalties.
Well, Ripe has 9 seconds of penalties now, and he has Shivam hot on his tail, and he does not have any way of getting DRS from the guy in front, that is Aaron Gavin, who is his teammate as well, who's Shivam's teammate as well, and he's 5.5 seconds ahead. So I think Ripe is going to have to battle it out.
Interesting to note here is, I think Electrip was the first one to pull the trigger to get onto the hards. He's struggling visually. We just saw him have a little moment.
I think one of the Haas has binned it.
Yeah, that's Paras who had a moment out of the spoon curve. Yeah. What is it called? Sorry?
The corkscrew. That's it.
Okay.
The first one is called the snail. The second one is called
Well, thank you for that. So he definitely did have it. A lot of people. I think there were 3 or 4 drivers who had spins out of that corner onto the back straight. Important to see, important to note. And I think Banat
bit
has.
of trivia from the comments. As someone, I think it's Streeter who's commented, Freeman Gandhi is going to win on 2nd October, which is.
Oh
which
wow!
Is Gandhi, so.
Thank you, Streeter. You helped us realize something. And Shivam seems to be trying aggressively to dive, but is not able to do it. And I think we have a spun Merc as well into turn 2. of Lalls. Lalls seem to have had a spin or a moment over there.
Bad day in the office of both the Monks, I'd say.
Well, another thing to note is
As he has been
P4 and P3 are very close to Soulo. In fact, they're all within DRS to each other. And well, I think P2 is in contention now because
And Aaron
Freeman
Gavin
might-
has the freshest set of tires out of the three drivers, so we could see him getting that position.
absolutely he just has to play it safe because Freeman might be able to get the move on Soulo because Soulo does not have DRS, but Aaron might get a double slipstream, double car slipstream, and I do not know if that will help, but it shouldn't because this is a DRS train at the end of the day. Let's break really late over there, sticking it to the diffuser of Freeman, trying to get that outwash, ignoring the outwash, trying to get on the power as early as possible to get a good good
I tell you what,
drive.
Freeman has done incredibly well there to stick with him. He's only
Not the splitting again.
Okay, are they within each other? Because okay, no, Freeman has gotten P2, whether due to a glitch or not, but I am gonna back him up by telling even if it's not for that glitch, he would have gone into P2 at the end of that straight for the exit that he had. Ripe seems to have
That was a massive dive from Shivam Sharda. Oh, Ripe is still coming back.
Oh,
As it goes down the inside of the last corner, and I think that's a bit of a tight squeeze there for the Williams driver, but we'll have to see about that later on. As Shivam gets DRS on the Williams and uses a fresh set of soft tires. You can see there how much Ripe had gone weird to the outside with the lack of grip.
That's a very feisty racing between both of these
Contact
guys.
going on there.
well. Ripe is definitely not giving up that position easily. He has P5 in his hand, and I don't think he's gonna go down without a fight. Yes, it is a lot of wheel banging. Aaron, in the meantime, has dived down the inside of Soulo in the flat left on the sector 2, the start of sector 2, and he's gotten P3 on track from Soulo as well. I think
That's
the
a
tires.
lovely overtake. From
Yeah,
him,
that's a
especially
lovely
do it in that section. That's absolutely insane of a move there.
with
There's
the tire
a-
life as well.
There's a lot going on track, and Shivam has made his move past Ripe.
Oh my god! Okay, we missed that. I
So
guess.
much happened, we cannot keep up.
I mean, we couldn't see everything at the same time. It's quite chaotic.
Interesting to note, Freeman has caught up quite a bit to Viral Gandhi as well, and that could in turn result in Adam Gavin also catching up to Viral Gandhi because he is utilizing the toe. As Rokker is extremely close to Ripe now. Both of them are low on ERS,
Excuse me.
and Rokker chooses to get sort of a switchback on the Williams driver there.
This is a battle to the line. We have three cars so close to each other. We could see a swap of changes because of penalties, but then
Oh,
Ripe-
that's-
About the last lap.
Oh, the Haas finished ahead, but oh, I think there was penalties or something came into play, I guess.
I'm not 100% sure, but then unfortunately, Ripe's penalties have pulled him all the way back to P10. So that is definitely, do not want to undermine all the effort he's put in to go from P15 all the way to P5 at one point in the race. In fact, he was leading the race for a short span of time as well, but those penalties definitely proved decisive and has pulled him down to P10. Williams boys
Absolutely.
seemed quite promising today, Moto, but that was a bummer.
It honestly was. I was looking forward for both the Williams boys on the top steps of the podiums. It's been years in real life, and to see it in the game would have been so good as well.
Well, important to note, Freeman Gandhi has won his race. It would have been his second win of the season, if not out of two races, 2 out of 2, if not for that unfortunate moment in Monza. But well, nonetheless, he's shown that he has the pace, he has the cool head as well. He did not start anywhere in the top the first 2 rows of the grid at race start, but he still was able to get the win. Excellent drive from him, nonetheless. P2 and P3, I think I failed to note it, but then I think P2 is for Aaron because we saw that who was it? Freeman had some penalties, and Soulo as well came in P3 because of the penalties for Freeman. So Freeman definitely showed a lot of pace. I'm happy that he's had a good race. If not for the penalties, he would have probably been on the podium as well. Well, nonetheless, we will have to wait for our podium finishers. In the meantime, we'll also go through the standings once they're done celebrating with some champagne. Well,
So
while
this is
it's
your
Gandhi-
finishing order for today's Chinese Grand Prix. In P1, we have Varun Gandhi, who wraps up a pretty dominant drive today from the Aston driver. In P2, we have the Ferrari of Aaron Gavin. In P3, we have the McLaren of Soulo, and that's your podium for the race today. P4 is Freeman, P5 is Shivam, P6 is Monk, P7 Electrip, P8 Rokker, P9 Warhammer, and rounding off the top 10 in the last points position is Ripe in the
Well, it was a fun race, definitely. We will also move on for the podium interviews right now. Let's ask our boys over here whatever we have to ask. Let's wait for a couple of them to join as well.
So Harry, who was your driver of the day for today?
Well, I know that he's not finished in an excellent position, but then I really want to give that driver of the day to Ripe because of how well he was driving throughout the race. That the start on those hards was important. He got that nailed, and then throughout the stint he was able to do well till that unfortunate incident he had. I think he lost a lot of time due to those incidents, and then the penalties definitely proved decisive for him as well. So if not for those, I think he was my driver of the day, and I still will call him my driver of the day because commendable effort from him.
Absolutely, Ripe did do his all, and it was a very commendable drive from the Williams driver. Though I think both the Ferrari drivers have excelled today. We saw great moves from both of them in Aaron Gavin and Shivam.
Yeah, and they did get a strong finishing as well today. Aaron is on the podium. I think he got P2.
So your constructors
And
for the day could be Ferrari,
yeah,
if that's an award.
absolutely. Anyway, we'll move on to the podium interviews. We have all of our podium finishers here. Let's start off with our race winner, Violent Gandhi. Moto, take it away.
So Varun Gandhi, after the unfortunate event of Monza, how are you feeling after your efforts finally paying off?
Yeah, it was a good race, man. Totally amazing race for both the Aston Martins. We both gained 6 positions. Qualifying, I tried on mediums because that was the best strategy, but I was way too far to qualify on mediums. Then the soft lap, the last lap was not that good for me, and I put it on P7. So I was just like, I have to be P1 before the stops so that I get in a good position. And I was P2 by then, and some people just spun off on their own. So that was a blessing for me. Anyway,
Absolutely.
great day.
Okay,
Well-
that's all from me. Harry, you have any questions for Gandhi?
Well, important to note, Gandhi. I don't know if you will have an answer for this, but today, 2nd October, and you having a Gandhi in your name, very, very iconic that you won the race today, obviously. So, you have any thoughts on that, or you just realize it now?
Yeah, actually, every year I know there will be somebody who will actually wish me on this day. So, no, nothing on that. I don't want to trend on Twitter tomorrow.
Well, thank you, Gandhi. That was a really good race from you. Kudos to you. We'll move on to.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Well, Aaron, if you're there, yeah, you are there. So, how was the race for you in general? Because you made some good moves in some daring places on track where not many drivers would think about going wheel to wheel. How was the race for you?
Yeah, there were too many things happening in the race. I spun around once in the exit of that corner before the straight. So I thought my race was pretty much over there. Then, luckily, I had a very good comeback because many people had incidents and many were on 2 stops as well. So, yeah, it was a good race. And unlucky for my teammate. I don't know. Yeah, he was on a 2 stop. So being on a 1 stop would be much more helpful. I believe. Yeah. So pretty much it was a good race. Yeah, some daring moves. Yeah.
Well, excellent. I think Shivam was not for that stopper, but two stopper still helped him stay in the top 5. I think he got a P5 after some penalties were applied, and Well, it's still a commendable effort and a good weekend for the Ferrari boys, isn't it?
Yeah, that was it was a good race for Ferrari. Yeah.
Great. Moto, you have anything to ask to Aaron?
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on the podium first off. And we saw you make a daring move on the last lap. I think it was in sector 2. Do you have any thoughts on how you got that down?
Was the move on solo?
Yes, I think it was on solo in the
Ah,
flat
yeah.
right-hander, left-hander.
Ouch.
Uh, wait. The move was like at the beginning of Sector 2, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah. So yeah, what I saw was Solo got a bad exit. So I capitalized on that and I used my ERS and got alongside him. And yeah, on the inside, I made the most stick. Yeah.
That's great. That was a really great move to watch.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well done.
Well, moving on to P3, we have Solo as well. Solo, do you expect this podium at all today?
I had absolutely no chance of getting on the podium, but I had literally no idea because just before the race, my pedals, I cleaned the potentiometers. And then just like 2 minutes before the race, they started acting out again. And then I had to go and do some jugaad to get the pedals to work. So, and qualifying P8 was just like, making everything sure that, yeah, this race is not for me to, stay on top or something. But yeah, in the race, everybody, like Gandhi said, everybody was just spinning on their own or getting into incidents and somewhere on the two stops. And that doesn't really work around China. So those were pretty much the free positions that I got.
Well, good for you. And I also want to ask another thing. You and Electrip both were driving for McLaren. Is there any team?
Oh my God, that was really intense out there. I mean, I think like every other lap we were overtaking each other to a point where I don't know, every lap was wheel to wheel. So yeah, it was fun. And then I think he spun at the exit of I don't know the turn number, but around the third sector. And
I
then
think it was the hairpin, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a hairpin. And then after that, it was a lonely race
Well,
until the end. Yeah.
well, absolutely. Moto, you want to take it away?
Yeah, that was a great race by Solo. And were there any team orders involved in that battle? Because you and Electrip were like close for the majority of the race there.
Yeah, there weren't any. We were just going wheel to wheel all the way.
That's great to hear. I think Alphabot wanted to be asked something. I don't
Nah,
know.
that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I think he's just the man must be taking a Sunday off to get his and get back to speed because he had a brilliant race up to the point where he had that spin because he was able to even catch up well to the. He made up all of that time he lost because of the earlier spin that he had. The second one definitely kind of ended his race and his chance on the podium, I guess. So let's not think about that. In the meantime, I think those are our podium finishers. There's nothing else to ask because they've answered everything quite peacefully to everything we asked. Thank you guys. Amazing race from you guys, and
Yes, it was a treat to
kudos.
watch.
Yeah, it was an absolute treat to watch those battles. And I guess that's it for today from the Tier 2 stream from IRC. It was an excellent race. Again, a good weekend of good racing from Tier 2. They've been so close, and it's a well set grid, in my opinion. One of the best grids I've seen yet in Tier 2. And do come back with the same excitement and watch the Tier 1 boys going hot at it tomorrow at the same track because we have some super fast boys. One of them sitting right over here, or Moto as well. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race tomorrow as well. So tune in tomorrow, and that's it for now. Signing off. Good night, everybody.